The views and opinions expressed by the guest author or speaker during this live session are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of Reader's Magnet. The content shared is for informational purposes only and does not constitute endorsement or promotion of any particular belief, ideology, or product.
Hello, authors, book lovers, and storytellers. Welcome to another awesome day here at RM Hive, and you're tuning in to Reader's Magnet featured author interview. I'm your host, Revan, and our featured author today has lived a remarkable life of service, leadership, and purpose. As a U.S. Air Force Academy graduate and Vietnam veteran who flew both fixed wing aircraft and Huey gunships, he later built a distinguished career in aerospace project management and training. His lifelong passion for military history eventually became a mission to uncover the stories of the ordinary soldiers whose extraordinary courage helped change the course of history on D-Day. Through meticulous research and heartfelt storytelling, he seeks to give these forgotten heroes the recognition they deserve. He is the author of not one but three books. It is a series. So these are the following books. So The Real Heroes of Omaha Beach, Soldiers Lost to History, An Old Man Shall Lead Them to Victory, More Real Heroes of Omaha Beach, and The Real Heroes of Pointe du Hoc, Saga of the Guns on the Mound. Let's all welcome this very talented Dennis H. Busch. Hi, Dennis. Thank you for joining us here today. How are you?
My pleasure. Hey, I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Yes, I'm good. And I'm actually very interested in knowing about all these three books right now that we are going to feature here at RM Hive. So I have a question here for your first book or for all of your books. So I have my first question here is what was your primary motivation to researching, writing, and publishing these three books about Omaha Beach?
I guess it stems from the fact that I have been a lifelong military history buff, and
Mhm.
spent considerable time over the last 30 years studying the European theater of World War II, and eventually focused almost entirely on the American efforts surrounding D-Day. The time period is roughly 4 to 8 June
Mm.
1944. I read every source I could get my hands on, and what I discovered was astonishing. Nothing seemed to be as I had previously been led to believe, including the fact that not more than 20 men's leadership was instrumental in the critical victory.
Mm.
Yeah, about 20 guys made the critical difference on D-Day on Omaha Beach. Once the landing craft left their mother ships and headed for the shore, the leadership on the ships in the English Channel became mute, invisible,
Mhm.
useless. The leadership that did make the critical difference was on shore,
Mhm.
in the heat of the intense battle being waged, and that critical leadership ranged from sergeants to brigadiers. Theirs are incredible stories that I feel an enormous obligation to share with all true Americans.
Mhm.
Time they got their just due. But there's even a greater purpose in my endeavors. I have sensed over the past many years a very noticeable wane in patriotism, the
Mhm.
undying love of this country and its history. They mock it, shame it,
Mhm.
revile it. The realization is very, very disturbing. I felt that I needed to do something to strike back, to counter this despicable truth. The answer I came up with was to write honest and
Mhm.
accurate U.S. military history, highlighting just how exceptional the people of this great country are,
Mm.
were, and ever will be. My initial intent was to write a book about these incredible events and the 20 extraordinary men on
Mm.
Omaha Beach, but it turned out to be three, a trilogy,
Wow.
to properly and thoroughly cover the subject.
Wow. I love how your experiences there are now immortalized in these books. And it's not just actually to write a story, it's also, to recognize these people, and that is such a noble thing to do, and I actually appreciate you for that. And I would love to read more about these experiences in the book, when I get all of these three books after this. So I want to ask as well, what is the premise of these three books?
Well, the United States Army was assigned to two of the five major beaches on D-Day,
Mm-hmm.
Omaha and Utah, code names. This trilogy focuses on just Omaha.
Mm-hmm.
Another trilogy will follow about Utah Beach and the Cotentin Peninsula. The battle on Omaha Beach is an enormous tale to tell, so I decided to break it up into a trilogy, which it naturally
Mm-hmm.
does. Book one is about the eastern half of the beach.
Mm-hmm.
Book two is about the western half of the beach. And book three is about Pointe du Hoc, which was about 3 miles to the west, all part of the Omaha battle.
Mm-hmm. Wow. I just actually learned that you have this Omaha series, and then there's an upcoming trilogy, an upcoming one which is the Utah series. Wow. That could have been a very long span of writing all of these books. And I believe you mentioned a while ago that um you were just you previously just are planning to write one book, but then it became a trilogy, and all of these series are actually happening at the same time. So that's what I love about how other authors are doing their storytelling, and yours is one of the unique take. So some of the authors who write series actually just write one book, and then what happens next, they put it on the second one. And right now, it's all three books, and they're happening at the same time.
That's
I so love about this. Yeah,
that's just a gigantic story. I mean, we're
it
talking
is.
a huge amount of soldiers that fought that day, and it's such and one of the most significant battles in U.S. history. Uh,
Yeah.
it is, and I was even amazed at how much there was to it.
Hmm. So did you do a lot of research about this before you wrote it? Or were these people real as well?
I read hundreds of sources, books.
Oh.
There's actually a lot online that is reasonably accurate history. So I used
Mm-hmm.
a lot of references there as well. Uh, the thing is, I had to piece the stories together. The way
Mm-hmm.
they typically write history books, I think, is very confusing. So I tried a
Mm-hmm.
totally different approach. Uh,
Love it.
I call it writing in sequence rather than in
Mm-hmm.
parallel.
Oh. I love the creativity right there, being an author. And right now, I want to ask, can you give us a brief synopsis about book one, The Real Heroes of Omaha Beach?
Sure. The First Infantry Division was at that time the most experienced American infantry division in the war. Because of this, they were assigned the responsibility of the eastern half of
Mm-hmm.
Omaha Beach, Easy Red and Fox Green beaches.
Mm-hmm.
But the first wave to hit the beach was just two battalions from the 16th Infantry Regiment of the 1st Infantry Division, and
Mm-hmm.
they, despite sustaining horrendous casualties, succeeded in their mission. And contrary to popular belief, the battle was essentially decided by 10 a.m.
Mm.
Of the 12
Interesting.
men I labeled as the real heroes of Omaha Beach, the incredible stories of 6 of them are
Mm-hmm.
told in book one. These men essentially led attacks that smashed 3 irreparable holes in the Germans' impregnable defense.
Mm-hmm.
Took out 3 of the German strongholds called Widerstandnest,
Mm-hmm.
and then assaulted the key villages of Colville, Québorg, and La Grande Hainue.
Mm-hmm.
Here's my French, along with securing a foothold on the coastal highway.
Mm-hmm.
Also included in the first book is the total factual account of the attack made by Charlie Company of the 2nd Ranger Battalion on the far western edge of Omaha Beach. Their commander, once aware of the actual situation on shore,
Mm-hmm.
altered his orders and eliminated 2 more critical German Widerstand nests that were on the west side of the Vierville Draw.
Mm-hmm.
That story, though somewhat fictionalized,
Uh-huh.
was made famous in the movie Saving Private Ryan.
Oh, I love it how people are also going to have, the familiarity in it, since, for all those who are familiar with Saving Private Ryan can also find a familiarity, or like similarity, just a little bit what's happening during that time in this book. I love it because you're actually putting the facts there of what's happening, and you also did a creative fictionalization of everything. And all of these things happening in the Omaha Beach. And I believe you mentioned 12 men and 6 men are actually featured in this book. So how did you manage to write all of these characters? So do you write an outline, or do you just write and write?
I don't know how other authors do it. I label what I do iterative writing.
Mm,
I write, my first draft is kind of a bulletized uh, outline, not like a
mhm,
formal outline, but just basically the basic ideas I want to get across. And then I
mm.
start writing about them. And then
I
I
love that.
create a book, okay, a series of chapters, and put them
Mhm.
together, and then read it and rewrite it, read it and rewrite.
Oh,
When I've done that 20 times, I've
the
got something,
story actually revealed itself. Wow.
wow, something worth reading. So
Yes.
that's how I do it. It just takes a lot of time, patience, and
Yeah.
continually researching, because as you write, you find missing gaps and you got to go find answers. And
Yes.
so research is not something you do up front. It's something you do up front and all the while you write.
Yes. Plus all the actions as well. So I believe you also put a creative side about the actions that should be in the book as well. All right. So that will be the first part of the interview. We will be back and we're going to talk about the books by Dennis Busch. So let's have a quick commercial break. Yeah, let's have a quick commercial break.
A literary extravagance awaits you in Chicago. Chicago doesn't do anything small. Neither does Reader's Magnet. The book Confab Chicago is back. Louder, sharper, more exciting than ever. A room where authors, insiders, and of course, the book lovers. They don't just talk about literature, they shape it. If books are your world, this is your event. The stage is all yours. Book talk, inspiring conversations, meaningful connections, fun activities, and many more. Different voices, one powerful yet intimate literary moment. Only at the Book Confab Chicago. Your story deserves to be seen and heard at the heart of the Windy City. This is your chance to share it with the world.
Hello again, authors, storytellers, and book lovers. We're back here at RM Hive with our featured author, Dennis Busch. And right now, we're going to continue our conversation about his book. So right now we're featuring the Omaha Beach series. So going back and continuing with the conversation. So I want to ask before I ask the question, I want to read this comment from Facebook. So we have from Tashwana saying the story demonstrates that bravery was not always about charging forward. Sometimes it was about understanding the situation and making a difficult decision quickly. Oh, I'm kind of jealous about you, Tash. So if you have read the book, I'm so jealous because I really want to have these books right now and get to learn more about the story of these soldiers. Because these are all real stories, and also because Dennis is a creative writer, so he also created a fictionalized. He also merged fiction in it, and it's going to be more adventurous and so exciting for us readers if you are into action and getting to know the facts as well. And these are all here, and the books are called, we have three books right here. So um we have The Real Heroes of Omaha Beach, Soldiers Lost to History. Book 2 is called An Old Man Shall Lead Them to Victory, More Real Heroes of Omaha Beach. And Book 3 is called The Real Heroes of Pointe the Hawk, Saga of the Guns on the Mound. And right here, I'm still with our featured author, Dennis Busch. So, Dennis, I want to ask this question again. This is for your book two. So, can you give us a brief synopsis of book two? An old man shall lead them to victory, because this has an amazing title. I want to know more about this.
Yeah. The 29th Infantry Division, unbloodied up to that time, was assigned the responsibility of the western half of Omaha Beach, which are Easy Green, Dog Red, Dog White, and the infamous Dog Green beaches. But the first wave to hit the shore was just 2 battalions from the 116th Infantry Regiment of the 29th Infantry Division. So just a small part. And they waded, walked, and swam into a deadly trap set by none other than German General Erwin Rommel. It was initially a total disaster for the Green Americans of the 29th. One entire company, 200 men, was virtually annihilated in the first 10 minutes of the sand on that sandy shore. They'd been training for 3 years, and they lived for only 5 minutes in the war.
Wow.
The other companies in the first wave were badly mauled, such that the attack stalled and came within a breath of failure. But fortunately, and quite by accident, they were not alone on this side of the beach. Ranger Force C, some 600 of the world's finest soldiers, also played a significant role on this half of Omaha Beach. Collectively, the surviving Army units and Rangers were strong enough to conquer the western half of the shore in spite of the Germans' heavy defenses. And yes, they essentially did this all before 10 a.m. as well. Brigadier General Willard B. Wyman, who previously served in combat in Burma, was on that day the deputy commander of the 1st Infantry Division. Unsatisfied with the meager reporting coming from shore, his division commander ordered him to go ashore, assess the situation, and then do what needed to be done. Once ashore, he was confronted with total chaos. His 3 battalion commanders, who were already on shore, provided him an assessment that they had in fact made significant progress beyond the beach, but the beach itself was another story. General Wyman said to one of his aides, loud enough to be heard by nearby, "We got to get these men off this beach. This is murder."
Ooh.
Quickly realized that the principal problem was that in spite of the 6 breaches in the German defenses, none of the 5 beach exits or draws
Mm-hmm.
had been captured, and that all the vehicles that had come ashore were stuck on the beach. Then calmly but urgently, he radioed his boss and told him to stop sending vehicles and
Mm-hmm.
instead send in more ground troops. Then he mustered the help of 2 of the tanks that did make it to shore,
Mm-hmm.
M15 half-tracks firing 37 millimeter ammunition, and the destroyer Navy USS Frankfurt to concentrate heavy fire on the western side of the St. Lawrence Draw.
Mm-hmm.
Ground troops from the recently arrived 2nd Battalion, 18th Infantry Regiment of the 1st Infantry Division
Mm-hmm.
captured the position and opened the critical draw such that the mechanical weapons of war could escape the beach and
Mm-hmm.
take the fight into Normandy. Once the first tank crested the bluffs, the victory on Omaha Beach was all but assured.
Mm-hmm.
This book also emphasizes the critical role that Army combat engineers played in the battle and who suffered just as badly as the infantry. There's also a tribute to the fire support provided by the Navy destroyers throughout the day.
Mm-hmm.
Many historians contend that the fire support made that critical difference in the battle. Point hard to argue.
Yes. You know what? I love how you actually shared that part of the story there. So I love I love how you put up the name of the battalion, all the codes, the easy green dog red. I love how you put them there. Like uh it made me ask myself, so how long were you writing? So what age did you write this first? And how long did it last?
Well, I probably started writing these stories 15 years ago. Uh,
Ooh,
but when my wife passed away 6 years ago,
okay.
I decided to dedicate the rest of my life to
Mm-hmm.
documenting both Omaha and Utah.
Mm-hmm.
And not just the battle, but primarily focus on the men who were
Mm-hmm.
instrumental in the victory on that battle. It's kind of amazing when you read these things when there are
Mm-hmm.
35,000 men landed on Omaha Beach, but you can attribute the victory to less than 20.
Yeah.
That
That
is an
part, yeah.
amazing thing that came out of my research.
Yeah. So I love how, because there's the sense of adventure here. So it's kind of like being written by the young, like you, a very young man. So so the sense of adventure there, that one line, it actually struck me. So there was one line when one of the generals said, "This is murder. We have to get off this beach. This is murder." It actually pulled me in. So I was like, it's like seeing everything in a movie. So it's like a movie itself. Did you imagine everything to be like in a movie style, or you just want your readers to imagine what's happening?
Well, that's why you have to tell it as a story. You can't
Mm-hmm.
just tell it as most books are, just a bunch of
Mm-hmm.
an, uh, anecdotes. You have to actually break it and tell it. Stories are linear.
Mm-hmm.
They have a beginning, a middle, and an end. So to make it
Yes.
interesting and to make it understandable and comprehensive, you have to write the story of these same events, but in a linear fashion from the beginning
Yeah.
when they were on the ships in the channel all the way to the end of the day, and in some cases even beyond 6 June. So
Yeah.
that's the difference in a lot of ways in the way my books are written than in most of the others I had read.
Yeah, because it's like when I read it, it's like it's so picturesque. I can see what's happening. The words are very strong. The descriptions. It's like I'm actually looking at it's like I'm looking at a film. It's so good. I love how you put up the word there. So I'm so excited about this. And right now, I want to ask this. So referencing book 2 in the trilogy, the one that you just read. So who is the old man referenced in the title, and why was he so important to the outcome of the battle?
Well, I best I could ask 1,000,000 people. None of them
Mm-hmm.
would know it. His name was Norman,
Mm-hmm.
nicknamed Dutch, Coda. He was a brigadier general and the deputy commander of the 29th Infantry Division, guys on the west. And
Mm-hmm.
at the age of 50, he was the oldest American on Omaha Beach. If the victory on Omaha had to be attributed to one man, it would be him. As happens all too often in history to be coincidence, he
Mm-hmm.
was the right man at the right place at the right moment in time to alter the course of human history. There are not many people you can say that about.
Mm-hmm.
Going against orders, he landed only 1 hour after H hour, where he was confronted with total bloody chaos.
Mm-hmm.
Immediately after he arrived on shore, he instigated, organized, and then personally led the remnants of the 116th Infantry Regiment, along with the Rangers, the 600 Rangers, who weren't even supposed to be there, to smash
Mm-hmm.
a massive, irreparable hole in the German lines, effectively securing the western half of the minefield, of the battlefield.
Mm-hmm.
The motto of the Rangers, Rangers lead the way, was
Mm-hmm.
spoken first that day by Coda as he tried to bolster the Rangers to attack and destroy the German wall in front of them.
Mm.
They did just that and have been leading ever since.
Oh wow. I love the line Rangers lead the way, because it's not just something you can find in this book. We can actually also apply it in real life. So Rangers lead the way. It's like, you know, going through that goal, because life is kind of like a battlefield itself. So you are the ranger here. So in life you are the ranger. And I love how this is already going. So we get to know about Norman here, Norman Coda, the old man of the second book. And wow, this is such an interesting story. And for all our viewers out there, the book is available on Amazon, and this is part of the trilogy. So later, after this commercial break, we're going to know about the third book of the series. So let's have a quick commercial break, and we will talk about the third book.
Every year, Chicago transforms into something unforgettable. Welcome to the Book Festival at Printers Row, where Streets becomes a world of stories, not just sharing experiences, but living them. Discover new voices, find hidden gems, reconnect with stories you love. Rain or shine, the stories never stop. Be there on September 12th to 13th, 2026 at South Dearborn, Chicago, where stories come alive. See you there.
And we're back. We're still here with our featured author, Dennis Busch, and me as well, Revan, your host for um our Reader's Magnet featured author interview. And we're still here. We're going to talk about the series. Right now, we have the Real Heroes of Pointe du Hoc, Saga of the Guns on the Mound. But before we move on to the questions, I want to read some comments here from our live audience. So we have again from Tashwana saying the the origin of the phrase "Rangers lead the way." I love that line, by the way. Makes the story feel even more significant because it connects one moment in history to a lasting military tradition. And yes, Tasha. So if you want to know more about the book, go get a copy of the book available on Amazon. So the book is called "The Real Heroes of Point the Hawk." That's the third book. The second book is called the one that we talked a while ago. It was called "An Old Man Shall Lead Them to Victory," and that's about Norman Cotta, the old man there. So who actually amazingly led his men as well. And the first book that actually started all of these is called "The Real Heroes of Omaha Beach." And right now, we're still here with Dennis Busch, and we are actually going to talk about the third book of this series called "The Real Heroes of Point du Hoc." I always get I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. So "The Real Heroes of Point du Hoc." So um Dennis, so can you give us a brief synopsis, or can you talk about a book three this time? So "The Real Heroes of Point du Hoc."
Yes, certainly. In books one and two of this trilogy, I related the story of what happened in early June of 1944 on a stretch of the Normandy coast codenamed Omaha.
Hmm.
But there was much more to the battle. 4 miles to the west lies a promontory that juts into the English Channel. Sheer 100-foot high cliffs shoot straight up from the sea to a flat plateau called
Mm-hmm.
Point du Hoc. The Germans took advantage of this elevated position by installing a battery of deadly 155 millimeter guns that could hurl their 95-pound shells as far as 15 miles.
Mm-hmm.
As such, they could hit targets on both Utah and Omaha, as well as all of the support ships in the channel. Perhaps posing an even greater threat was an observation post
Mm-hmm.
that had the same clear view, along with radio and landline contact with many batteries in the rear. As such, they could direct fire from not only the Point du Hoc position, but all the big guns behind the lines, or all of the designated critical enemy targets in the Omaha operation.
Mm-hmm.
Point du Hoc was at the top of the list. The Allied
Nice.
naval and air forces shelled and bombed the position incessantly in the months leading up to D-Day, such that
Hmm.
it looked like a moonscape. Still does to this day. Though assured that the position had been totally destroyed as a threat, the commanders had to be sure. So they sent in a new type of infantry unit,
Mm-hmm.
Rangers, to find out. They were highly trained soldiers in asymmetrical warfare, and especially trained in climbing cliffs, and as physically fit as an Olympic gymnast.
Mm-hmm.
So on the morning of 6 June, 3 companies of Rangers, about 600 men,
Mm-hmm.
to landed at the base of the cliffs and ascended them, all while under fire.
Oh.
Yes, the Germans were on the cliffs shooting down at them, throwing grenades down at
Mm-hmm.
them. Even incredibly, within 20 minutes, of all able-bodied combat troops were atop the plateau and off to find their targets. For many reasons, the events that transpired there are still in some dispute, and
Mm-hmm.
to some degree controversial as to their detail even to this day. What did the Rangers ultimately find atop the cliffs? what else happened on the plateau behind enemy lines? Why did it take 3 days for the Rangers to be relieved? And how were they able to hold out for so long, entirely behind enemy lines? The answers to these questions is where history seems to be a bit muddled, depending upon the source. I did my best to sort it all out in this book, but what is not in dispute is that what happened over the next 3 days is one of the most incredible stories of the entire war. In the end, only 75 of the original complement of 225 Rangers were fit for duty. Way too many were either killed, seriously wounded, or taken prisoner. When I first was able to glean this entire story, I cried in total, unabashed pride. It is one of the most extraordinary stories from American history. It is an amazing story of resilience, courage, ingenuity, and perseverance. What happened on Pointe du Hoc highlights the epitome of the American soldier when tested to the extreme and put in a grim and perilous situation. In the end, American exceptionalism won the day and thrust another dagger deep into the heart of the Third Reich. And it was Rangers who led the way.
Wow.
It is
This
a
is
very, very powerful story.
it is a very powerful story. So was the Point du Hoc story the end of all of these trilogy?
Well, when the Rangers were finally rescued, that formally ended the battle, but it happened on June. It would happen not on June 6th, but on June 8th. So to me, the Battle of Omaha goes from about 3 or 4 June to 8 for its entirety. The battle itself was most intense on 6 June and 7 June, which are covered in the 3 books. I mean, it's not just a one day, most people think. It actually was a battle, which is generally multiple days.
Yeah, and I could imagine, I was imagining, all those, there were like 75 people left from those 225. That was kind of like it has a very strong feeling into it. So I could imagine, when you were writing it, where you're like, did you feel something when you were writing it, or did you intend to make it very emotional for the readers?
It's almost impossible to read about what's going on there and not be emotional. I mean, these guys were truly heroes. We throw that term around pretty loosely, but nobody written about in a comic book is a hero. They aren't faced with death like these guys were.
So you've written these 3 books, and it spans from June. What is it? June or July? June 4th to the 8th. June 4th to the 8th.
Yeah.
Yes.
The battle,
1944.
there's no dramatic start and no dramatic end. Typically, there are things that begin at, that kind of come together, and then there are things that kind of end at the end. But the story kind of ends when the Rangers were finally rescued from being behind enemy lines for 3 days. They were only supposed to be there for 6 hours.
I love how you put the story like that. So it's kind of like a different perspective. So it started like in the middle, and then it ended. You just ended it when they were actually already rescued. And what were the challenges that you encountered while you were creating this the series?
Well, like any writing, you find gaps. And you search and search and search to try to figure out what's behind, what happened in the gap. In some cases, there's nothing written about it, but you can kind of assume. I mean, if they were at point A at one point and point B at another, they had to get from A to B. and you can kind of interpolate and be fairly accurate in what must have happened. And so those are some of the challenges. But the basic challenge is just the volume, the amount of research I had to do. Like I said, I read literally hundreds of sources, and anything I could get my hands on. And, and I found bits and pieces in all of them. So it's kind of like a giant jigsaw puzzle that you're trying to put together. Okay. And a story. And that was the challenge. It took several, this doesn't happen in 6 months. It happens in years to do this adequately and thoroughly.
I love how you actually, put up all of the pieces there. Yeah, I agree when you said it's like a jigsaw puzzle. And they actually have this grand story that all the people should know about, because this happened, in 1944, and you actually have the date there, and these are like a perspective of what's happening in the life of a soldier. So those people who were in the battle there at the Omaha beach. And I am excited. I'm so excited about this book, and I believe you're also having a plan of creating the other trilogy with the Utah trilogy. But I'm still going to have this first. So I'm planning to have this because I want to know more about all of these people. I want to feel like how I felt it right now. And Dennis, before I want you to promote your book. Where can we find all of these books? And if you have other books that you want to promote, I would love to give the floor to you.
It's real simple. Just go on Amazon and search for my name, Dennis Busch. All 3 books will pop up, and you can purchase them all together, or you can purchase them one at a time. It's up to the user. Anybody, like, again, I want to emphasize my purpose in writing these books is patriotism.
Oh, yeah.
If you cannot love this country, I would recommend especially you read these books. It outlines how exceptional Americans truly are. Not me, those guys. Virtually all of whom are no longer with us. It happened so long ago. But they still should be revered. Their stories should be told.
True.
Forever.
And I want to commend you for writing this very, this story that also honors those fallen soldiers. So it's actually just not about you as an author, it's about them. I love how you actually put it that way. So it's about honoring all those brothers who've fallen during the war, and this is something to remember them by. So you have immortalized them, the moments, even if the others are already fictionalized. You have created such a powerful, such an empowering story, an inspirational one for the others to read. And for everyone, this is Dennis Busch, our featured author today. Get your copy of his books, the Omaha series. So we have The Real Heroes of Omaha Beach, Soldiers Lost to History. We have book 2, An Old Man Shall Lead Them to Victory, More Real Heroes of Omaha Beach. And book 3, The Real Heroes of Pointe du Hoc, Saga of the Guns on the Mound, available on Amazon. So get your copy and read the story, get to learn more about history and all these people who have been fighting for the country. And Dennis, it has been an awesome time with you here at RM Hive. Thank you so much for sharing your story and empowering all our audiences today.
Well, thank you. I enjoyed the opportunity to share my story.
Yes. And guys, let's open the pages and unravel the secrets of your personal odyssey. And I believe that your ink never runs dry. So go tell your story, storyteller. This is your host, Revan, with our featured author, Dennis Busch. And as we say it here at Readers Magnet, we share your story with the world. Bye for now. Stay awesome.